All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We've got one more video to make on DJ James here to try to understand what we are getting into with him. And this is the one where I post my notes from watching the games. So, honestly, I'm just going to say this right now. The selection of Auburn games that I had to choose from were a little bit frustrating when it came to DJ James for me. I felt like there was some stuff that I was missing. I felt like there was some stuff that he did throughout the season that I wasn't able to break down like this because it came in games that were not available. Like, I get it, right? Obviously, only the higher profile games are going to get posted like this, and the lower profile games, the games against lesser teams, the games that are less interesting, they don't get put on TV, so you're much less likely to be able to find cut-ups of them or montages of them or anything like that. But there are basically 3 games, and I'd already done 2 of them for Pritchett, so I decided to do one of the old ones, one of the previous games I already did, and the one that I hadn't done, but I don't feel like any of them necessarily show DJ James at his best. And I feel like even after this, there's a lot of stuff that I still had to lean on like highlight reels for. So, as always, I want to remind everybody that the reason why I'm not showing the clips on the video is because YouTube has generally not allowed me to do it. Last time I tried to do it a couple years ago, they just blacked out the video, so I'm not putting a bunch of work into a video that no one's going to be able to watch. Okay, so the first game is at LSU. This was the game I did for Pritchett, but I figured it was really good to utilize for James as well because LSU has the best receivers in college football, and they also had the Heisman winning quarterback, so it's a true trial by fire. And on the surface level, DJ James did really well in this game. He played 62 snaps, so basically the whole game. 34 of those snaps were in coverage. He had 6 tackles, allowed 3 catches on 3 targets, but it only went for a total of 15 yards and 1 interception. So he was not really the guy getting picked on here. He was not really the guy who was getting pushed around. And we know from the Pritchett tape that neither was Pritchett. So yeah, when you think about LSU, they are a team that mostly utilizes the outside receivers. They utilize the outside the numbers portion of the field, and yet their 2 outside corners held really well in that game. They just lost, or actually got blown out for assorted other reasons that had little to do with what the outside corners were doing. Very first snap of the game, ironically, he lines up in the slot. Receiver runs a go route up the sideline. I think you guys remember the old Doug Baldwin route he would run where he would just start in the slot and then start running towards basically the back corner of the end zone. It's like a go route, but it's got a slight angle out to the sideline. So right off the bat, it's like, wow, he's playing in the slot. He would play in the slot 3 more times throughout this game, so it's not exactly a common thing, but get used to playing in the slot, buddy, because that's definitely going to be what you need to do, excuse me, to make it in the NFL. On the third play of the game, there was an off-tackle run that squirted past the line, and I was immediately pretty impressed with how he came up to assist in run defense. I don't think he made a tackle or anything like that. I don't think he got credited for anything, but the play did kind of stand out to me a little bit because he came up and seemed very eager and aggressive to assist in the run defense, which you don't always see from these smaller cornerbacks. There are some snaps early on where he's not afraid to get up in the grill of the receiver and trust his ability to mirror him without giving him cushion. There's also a fair amount of snaps where he's giving big cushion, so it's just one of those things Auburn's doing, which makes sense. You would expect teams to want to mix it up a lot when they're going up against these really good offenses where sometimes they give cushion, sometimes they're up in the grill, and DJ James isn't afraid. And I don't know about his ability to get up in the grill of receivers at the NFL level. I think he will mostly be an off-man guy because he has short arms. But at the collegiate level, he was willing to do it and trust his reactive athleticism. Definitely notable. A lot of snaps early on, and really throughout this whole game, I noticed it. There's a tendency he has to flip his hips at the snap and go side saddle so he can watch the middle of the field and the play, the quarterback. before anything really happens. So he's hanging with the cornerback while he's in side saddle, and it looks good. It looks pretty good. And these are some of the best receivers in college football in Neighbors and Thomas. So he looks pretty good hanging in his back pedal and still sticking with the play. His first completion allowed came on a 2nd and 2. He was giving a big cushion, but he comes up and immediately makes the tackle. So, I mean, 2nd and 2, he did allow the first down conversion, but I think that on the whole, you have to say he did his job. When you give a big cushion like that, you're going to get beat underneath sometimes, and if you don't want to get beat underneath, you shouldn't be telling your cornerbacks to play with that much cushion. He did get beat on a go route. The ball just didn't go his way, but he did look like he just got outrun, which I think that speaks to what a lot of people said about him before the combine, where they said, yeah, he's kind of slow out there, and then he runs fast at the combine. It makes you wonder. And what I would wonder with DJ James specifically would be, well, if he's running fast at the combine, but he didn't run very fast on the field, maybe he lost weight before the combine so he could post a good time, but that's not going to be his actual playing weight. Maybe he's going to get up to like 180, 185, and he'll be a slightly better tackler, and he'll be a little more capable of holding up against the run, but then he loses some of the speed that made him appealing in the first place. So that will remain to be seen. Mostly he is playing cautious and he's giving big cushion pre-snap against the LSU receivers. Gets off a wide receiver block to get involved in tackle on ball on a stretch play. It was, I think it was Neighbors, but I'm not 100% sure, throwing the block, and he was able to get off of it and go make the tackle. So he's not going to be a great tackler or run defender in the NFL at his size, I don't think, but I think it's very clear that he's willing. And that's more than I can say for even Pritchett at times. I don't think Pritchett was this willing. So credit where credit's due, for sure. Does a good job funneling Jaden Daniels inside on a quarterback run back to the defense. Basically, he just occupied the blocker on the outside, so Daniels had to cut inside back into the teeth of the defense, limited the play to a minimal gain. Stuff like that is also going to count for a lot in the NFL, I think, where you don't necessarily make the tackle, but you occupy your lane, you stay in your lane. So that was a play that impressed me pretty well, I think. Second quarter, he had another slot rep. He was giving a big cushion to the receiver in the slot, and then he was defending a go route. Seemed like every time he was in the slot, his receiver would run that back pylon go route. By the way, when I say back pylon go route, I don't mean they were in the red zone or anything like that. I just mean that's the general direction they're going. They're running a go route that is slightly slanting to the outside. Another short comeback or completion where he gives cushion, comes up, immediately makes the tackle, 4 or 5 yard gain or something like that. So pretty reasonable, pretty fair. And he's basically allowing the completion that he's coached to allow, and then coming up and minimizing the play. So all's well as near as I can tell. Very aggressive, attacking a bubble screen to take away the outside. It was a little wide receiver screen. There were blockers in front of him, and James just dashed in there, took away the outside. He didn't make the tackle, but he did force the receiver to go back into the defense. Again, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I'm talking about this guy being willing. And that's going to count for something. It's not going to count for everything in the NFL, but it means something. His interception, now I'm just going to go ahead and say this. You can only give him so much credit for this. It was a tip drill. He wasn't targeted. Another defensive back was being targeted. Another receiver in front of DJ James got targeted. And then the ball got tipped up and he picked it off. So good for him, but let's not go too crazy with it. He was targeted on a crossing route on 3rd and 7, about 9 yards down the field. He was in pretty good coverage. He just couldn't quite get his hand in there to break up the pass. And I think looking at it, you can see the issue with his size. He just didn't have the arm length or the height to get in there and break it up. He's too small, and on a play like that, it really rears its ugly head. Every time he's in the slot, it seems like the receiver runs a go route on him, like I said before. There was one play where he was in kind of an awkward spot where he had a receiver behind him while he was running back in deep coverage. and there was another receiver in front of him. It was like he was trying to guard two people at once. The completion goes to the guy in front of him, and PFF doesn't even give him the blame, which I think is correct. There's a tackle he has on Neighbors on a big yak run after a significant gain. And the fourth quarter is mostly garbage time, very little for him to do. And overall, there wasn't a chance to see a lot of his ball skills in this game because they just didn't throw to him that much. They threw at him 3 times, and they were all like underneath routes where he basically gave up a free short completion. So it was a good game. I think he played well. I think him and Pritchett both played well in this game, and it was just other things. They couldn't stop the run. The slot receiver, I don't know his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the slot receiver for Auburn seems like he's always getting picked on. Okay, the other game I looked at was the Texas A&M game at Texas A&M, the Aggies. This one also kind of frustrating. He played 48 snaps, so I think he missed a little bit of time in this game. 25 of those snaps were in coverage. He had 2 tackles, including half a tackle for loss. He allowed 1 catch on 1 target for 26 yards. So, again, he's not getting tested. There are other places on this Auburn defense that teams were smart enough to attack. Early on, mixing in aggressive snaps up at the line in the receiver's grill, and then he had other snaps where he was playing with big cushions, so same thing as LSU. There was a screen pass where he shows aggressiveness gunning downhill to try to go make the tackle. I like that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff stands out to me, especially in a game like this where he's only getting targeted once or twice. One thing that he did have an issue with in this game, this was the worst tackling game of his career. He missed 3 tackles. The first one was on a check down where he tried to take out the running back's legs in the open field. So it was just one of those plays where he was trying to take out a guy who's just a little bigger and stronger than him by diving for his legs. He misses. The receiver makes a good move. It's in the open field, and he's gone. Well, not gone in that he scored a touchdown, but he did make some yards. There was one play that I liked where he started the rep on the inside against a receiver running a go route, and then he like looped around with his back to the line of scrimmage to pick up the wheel route. It was like good awareness on his part, good understanding that, hey, I got to go pick up this wheel route or it's going to be an easy play. And the receiver's getting passed off to another defender anyway. Nice play. There was another screen pass where he was very aggressive, gunning down to go get the ball carrier, and he was actually able to make a tackle at the line of scrimmage. So, near as I could tell, he should have gotten credit for multiple tackles for loss in this game, but he only got credit for a half. I think he should have gotten a full one, half for one play, half for another. There was a deep crossing route in the end zone that I thought he was very sticky on, didn't draw the throw. Gets a free run to the quarterback on a blitz, but the quarterback manages to get it out quickly. However, the pressure did force him to throw the ball very quickly, and it went incomplete on 3rd down, so he was able to force a punt, so it worked. Few snaps throughout this game where he's just off the field. I'm not sure what's prompting it exactly. I'm not sure exactly if there's some kind of strategy. I don't know if he was getting hurt. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, but I do know that Auburn's secondary did have some on and off injury issues in this game, so I'm assuming he was part of it. A&M generally isn't just throwing his way. They're just running the ball and throwing away from him. Aeneas Smith is getting a vast majority of the targets in this game, it feels like, and he's playing in the slot. So guys like Pritchett and James are not really getting involved because they're outside corners. He guns up aggressively on a stretch run and has a chance at the tackle for loss, but he throws his shoulder, completely misses, and the run goes for about 4 yards. So he did force the running back inside into the defense where he was able to get tackled for just an average gain. But he had the opportunity to make a big tackle for loss, and he just whiffed. So not good looking. Mostly being used to protect against deep shots in this game that A&M just isn't taking. I think they took like 1 or 2 deep shots the whole game. One of them was into double coverage where James was not involved, and it was actually a touchdown. His 3rd and final missed tackle is on a long game-sealing run where he just slides off the guy's leg. And I can't really blame him for it. He was put in a really bad situation. He was running with his back turned with the running back right behind him, and then he had to turn around and try to grab his leg, and he just slid off. And it's tough to fault him too much. Open field, really, really big disadvantage there. So can't really kill him for that. And that was what I got from that game. So again, these games are not giving him a great opportunity to show his ball skills, which I think are good because they're not throwing at him. But there is some stuff to take away that's good from here for sure. That's my tape study on DJ James. See you guys later. Go Hawks.